Welcome back to Corporate Nitro. Corporate Nitro with another great deal, $100 Aussie, $68 US. We got another Bullet. This time it's the MT, a little bit older than our last one. Really needed that body shell. So this is not the ST, this is the MT. It's got obviously the MT body. It's got the longer body posts, slightly different tires, although the pattern does look very similar to the ST. But my ST didn't come with any tires, so it's good that we've got some proper ones now. And apparently the engine is low compression, but that's okay because my engine is great. And there's nothing missing, just very dirty, so we'll give this a good clean. Gentleman's given me a spare parts car, which is missing too many things to do a restore. There's only one drive shaft in there, and no drive shafts in the front. So we'll just keep that for parts and tires. He's given me some huge Chevron style wheels and tires with 14mm, and 14mm that's probably going to fit the Hobeo Hyper 10, I think. And a couple of AM receivers and transmitters, 200ml of 16% fuel. Okay, let's look at the main one that we bought. So we got wheels and tires in really good condition. Fuel tank, exhaust. So yeah, missing the handle roll bar. Got a nice G3.0. It's got a different air filter. Lots of dirt in the back. We've got dirt and mud caked on there. We're gonna have to give this a full strip and clean. But the back end feels pretty good. We've got the radio cover. We've got the original servos, HPI brand. The steel spur looks good, the slipper looks good. The frame is a little bit wobbly for my liking, but I can see some loose screws. Maybe we can tighten those up after we give it a full strip and clean. Some front end impacts, but nothing massive. Some bent body posts again. So I think this one will come up quite nice once we finish it. And we can hear popping, but very loose, no, not much compression there. Probably it's on its final legs. If you've ever been wondering if HPI is a good brand, look at the front knuckle. There's a little metal plate captured into the knuckle, right? So you will never strip your hex screws going into this knuckle, because you're screwing into metal, you're not screwing into plastic, and they're there on both sides. We got the toothbrush, we got some bicycle chain and sprocket scrubbing tools, we've got dirty bullet parts, we've got soapy water. That can only mean one thing. All the bearings and shims have gone into methylated spirits. I'm going to clean them with the electric toothbrush. All the metal bits, like the metal spur, drive shafts, all the screws have filled up this jar. Low odor kerosene. I'm going to put the lid on, we're going to give it a shake. HPI Nitro Star G3.0 in a very filthy condition. So we need to do an inspection and a clean. And yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So let's go through the motions. And the head is off. And that's filthy. That's going to need a good clean. This is the low compression G3.0. It is absolutely filthy. I've never seen so much dirt in an engine or on the outside of an engine. But the fact is that this car, the chassis of the car, was actually the most dirty car I've ever seen. Cleaned the parts, let them dry, and then it looked like they were still dirty. So there's just, it must have gone through a swamp or wet mud or something, maybe submerged. I've just never seen this much dirt on every single component of a nitro car. Anyway, there's no way I'm going to run this without doing a full strip and clean. It's the first time we're going to remove the button and have a look inside. Oh wow, okay, so the glow plug looks really good. It's not too white, it's not black, and the piston just looks amazing. It's not black, but that could mean it might have been run a bit lean. It would actually be better if it was a bit of a yellow tinge to it, and that could be the reason why this engine has lost compression. It might be still new and just been run lean for too long, and the owner's killed it. So we'll give it a really good clean, and we'll test it. But what you can see at the top, sitting on top of the sleeve, is the shims. There's 2 or 3 shims in there, and if I put my fingernail in there I can probably remove them, but I don't want to bend them. So every G3.0 has 2 or 3 of these shims, and I guess you might be able to remove them as your engine loses compression, which should just bring the button down closer to the piston. But I'll give it a clean first and remove everything slowly instead of just attacking this now. I've just stuck my fingernail into the lip of the sleeve there, and I've pulled off all 3 gaskets, all 3 shims, and that means that this button will now sit lower and increase the compression. So there's still minimal pinch. I can still turn the flywheel with one finger, so that's not good. The pinch is just not there, and the pinch is the taper of the sleeve, and it's on an angle, and when your engine heats up, it goes, the sleeve just goes more vertical, and then the piston can easily go up and down. So we don't have pinch, but maybe that with the head button sitting lower, we can get a bit of compression back, and it might help this engine run nicely for a little bit while it's on its last legs. So now our carb is loose and it's out. And look at the mud on there, full of mud. Okay, so remember with these one-way bearings, the riding is always towards the motor. Okay, so if the one-way bearing is stuck, get your pinion remover tool and then your one-way bearing will pop off. And you see the riding is always facing towards the motor. Now that's off, the back plate should come straight off. Okay, back plate came off. I mean, look at the dirt in here. That's incredible how much dirt there is there. There shouldn't be that much dirt there. Okay, let's look inside the engine. Luckily inside the engine is still clean. Now that I've just lowered the piston a bit, you can see that groove in the sleeve. There's that obvious line, and there's a bit of a chunk missing from the piston, and it hits that exhaust port as well. I might just zoom in the phone a little bit. Can you see that there? There's a bit of a chunk missing. Yeah, so something's got in there, hit the piston, hit the exhaust port, and stayed on top of the piston while the piston was in its upstroke to cause that line in the sleeve. Cut it in half. Use your pipe wrench to hold the flywheel while you take off the little clutch nut. Make sure you put a rag over your flywheel so you don't scratch it, and then you use your flywheel puller to pull the flywheel and cone off. As expected, the flywheel and cone came off easily, so now all you have to do is just give it a bit of a tap to get the crankshaft out, now that there's nothing else connected. There you go, comes straight out. Doesn't look too rusty. Looks really good. Bit of oil. And now we can have a close look at our bearings. Give them a feel. All the bearings are getting a bit of Teflon lube and silicone spray because of the O-rings. I don't want them going in the kerosene. Glow plug's just getting a simple wipe down, no chemicals. The carb boot is going to get a wash with water, and the clutch is just going to get a wipe with a rag, and all the other metal parts from the engine are going to go into the kerosene now. So we've got the sponge in the funnel, we've got the bearings in the alcohol, so I gave that a shake. Now we're going to drain it. Here we are, cleaning the HPI Bullet MT G3.0. We are the NITRO surgeons. We got all the metal engine parts, and we got the low odor kerosene. We're going to give everything a clean now with a toothbrush or a hard brush, or I'll get the brass brush out if this dirt is too much. I've got some brass brushes made from metal ready to go. Well, we've been scrubbing for an hour with various brushes, some soft, some stiff, some metal, and the motor is still absolutely putrid, so we're going to have to do another session getting this dirt off. Might even have to use a high-speed rotary tool with a metal brush. All these parts came up really good, happy with the results there, but just the case itself has got the problem. So we're going to give the head a bit of a clean in hot soapy water, and same for the case as well, hot soapy water, and then we'll dry it straight away with a hairdryer, get the water out of those bearings, and try and run the engine as soon as possible. But all the metal parts that had the Kero's evaporated, so we'll keep that away from the water. Now that we've washed it, and it's not 100%, but it's 95% clean, just going to hit it with the hairdryer and take most of this water off, heat it up, the water should evaporate. So now we've hit the bearings with a WD-40, the case is nice and hot and looking much better. I think we're good. The best way I find to clean a cooling head is to use a bicycle sprocket cleaner. It's got short hard bristles, long hard bristles, straight hard bristles. It's got everything you need for a nitro. Time to turn it up a notch, get some serious needle equipment out, and clean this dirty engine once and for all. Probably use some methylated spirits to help us do the job, since this is a really dirty engine. So we'll get some metho, spray it on there, and start digging out the dirt little piece by piece. Finally got it clean, needed a couple of needles and the air compressor and some alcohol. Flex edition. Very flexible today.